Next up on our list of plants to repot for our house is the Sansevieria Fernwood.
Oh yeah.
Why did we choose this one, baby?
I love how modern and kind of wild looking it is. And it's very low light tolerant, which
really low light tolerant.
Is great for this house.
Also really great for this house because of the people that we are, is that it's low maintenance. So you have to let all the soil dry out in between watering.
You're gonna water this just a few times a year.
Yeah, I think probably where we're gonna have it in that lower light scenario. We might bump it up, you know, every once in a while to a bright light just to help it kind of recover. But
all of this foliage is all filled with water. So that's why it's so drought tolerant.
Yeah, they are succulents after all. So let's get started. How about shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm gonna flip her over on this side. Ooh, it's already like starting to wobble on its way out. So I think this is gonna be a really easy one. I'm gonna hold there. No, look at that. Oh, it's because the soil is already wet.
And look, again, from the top, you would assume it's dry.
Yeah, a lot of times people will say,
somebody would easily water that.
You know how we use the chopstick method to see if it needs to be wet?
Yeah.
People think that's excessive because they're like, oh, I just shoved my finger in the soil, and if it's
That's
dry.
a long finger.
But that's a really long finger because a finger's length down, it's dry, and then beyond that is like sopping wet.
It's
so people
really
will
wet.
water, and then, you know, that's a lot of times how
Good
plants
call
die.
having it outside.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
It helps it dry out that way.
I'm gonna put this aside. Right, yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to have that inside at the beginning. So I'm actually gonna try to reuse some of the soil, and we're gonna try to revitalize it a little bit with a little secret ingredient.
Booster.
Yeah, a little booster over here. I hear like something
Me too.
crawling over here. That's weird. We're out in the country, so who knows what it could be.
Huh. Yeah.
But let's get the pot for them over here.
This pot's kind of neat. It was actually already on this property.
We're going with a nice terracotta pot right
Very
here.
much patinaed, or is that moldy?
No, yeah, it's a nice patina. Yeah, it was already on the property, so it's like nice and weathered all ready for us. Has that look that we are going for.
They knew what we liked.
They must have known. Of course, it has a drainage hole, so we are being responsible plant people
And
here.
it's a very breathable pot being terracotta.
The only thing is I think we may have to maybe separate it a little bit. I don't know if it's all going to fit in this right here.
I don't think so. It looks too wide.
Yeah, one little tip if you guys want to know about having low light succulents like snake plants in your low light areas. If you're going to keep them in like extreme low light all the time, it's better to keep them really root bound. Keep them in smaller pots because that means they're going to dry out faster.
You don't want a lot of soil there keeping those roots moist.
Right, yeah. So the less soil you can have, the actual better chances you are going to have of survival because it's going to dry out a lot faster, which is also the reason why we're using terracotta. Not only does it look good for our decor, but terracotta is porous, it breathes, it's clay.
Perfect.
So you get airflow like all around the pot, helping it dry out even better. So you avoid that root rot, which is especially important in those lower light scenarios. So maybe we kind of see what we're working with, like how close, I don't even really want to mess with it too much. Maybe we just shake off a little bit of the soil down here. Like I said, we are going to be reusing it. I think I'm gonna turn this just a little bit towards your dogs there.
Woof woof.
Yeah, we can get this
look at
a little bit loosened up.
I love that about Sansevieria roots, how they get so orange like that.
Yeah, I really like that too. We got a little bit of root breakage here.
Not a big deal.
Definitely not a big deal. And this isn't even really that big of a deal. I mean, if I was doing a regular repot, I wouldn't mess with it so much. But I'm kind of looking for a place where maybe we can rip off a chunk so that it fits in here a little better.
What about this top?
Yeah, this little top part right here. Okay, so it looks like we have a few plants going on with that. I think...
Yeah, there's two right there.
Usually what I'll do is like kind of root around in the soil and look for that big connecting cord.
It's like a U almost.
Yeah. These might not have the big cord. Let's just start ripping and see. Okay, yeah, there we go. So these aren't actually as established as I thought, these little baby ones right here.
There's some roots though, there's some good roots.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good roots on there. Okay, so that's one other plant.
I love the shape of that too, look at it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. So I think this would probably be a good size to put back in there.
Oh, that'll fit in there, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll fit in there just nicely.
So start filling it up.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna put a little layer of, I'm just gonna reuse this soil right here. This is what we're gonna be revitalizing the soil with. This is the Bigfoot mycorrhiza, the gold aspect of it. A lot of you don't know that the houseplant soils are really just like, there's not a whole lot of nutrients involved. There's some slow release fertilizer.
You can see a little bit, yeah.
You can see the slow release like granules. It's a synthetic fertilizer though. So we're gonna kind of be rebuilding natural soil structure and health with this type of thing. So it's gonna make things a lot easier for us. It's supposed to come in contact with the roots. You know, can't really overdo it, so. At least not in my, well, maybe you can overdo it, I don't know.
Not in our experience.
But I've never overdone it.
All right, stand it up straight for me.
How's it looking?
Yeah.
How do you like that?
Just like that.
Okay, so let's
Like
backfill
that.
a little bit then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll start backfilling. You make sure that
I'm
it
gonna
stays
hold it.
upright. All right, get this all around the sides here.
And the big question, you know what we're going to be asked?
Are you gonna water it in?
Yes.
So in the cactus repot, if you guys watch that one, you know, this is a really common question that we get a lot. And pretty much every time I repot, I water in right after. The only exception is with cacti, succulents. And I used to not do it that way. I used to actually water everything in immediately after. But it was actually somebody in the comments that was like, you know, for cacti and succulents, you might not want to do that. They were taught to not water them in right after, because if you accidentally, like, you know, make an inclusion on a cactus or a succulent, something that, you know, the leaves where they store water.
And you might not even know it.
You might not even know it, and you go and water it in right after with that open wound still on the cactus.
Bad
then
news.
it can just, you know, or the succulent, it can just suck up like so much water that it rots it out.
That
So
looks so good.
now I let them dry out for, you know, a week or so.
Yeah.
A week or two before I give them their
This
first
would
watering.
be good anyway because that soil's still wet.
Yeah, the soil is still pretty damp, so it's gonna be fine just like this. I'm not gonna water it in right now because the soil's already wet.
It looks so good.
Yeah, it didn't take much time. It looked like a big project. I guess we still have to pot this one up. Do we want to do that right now too?
Yeah, let's just do it.
Okay.
You want to use this?
Looks like a big project, but we've only been at it for about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. Okay, so now we have our second repot. This is the division from our big mama right here. We're going to terracotta again.
Of course.
Got the drainage holes, of course.
Yep.
This will be kind of like a little hedge of sorts, maybe. So we'll put in some soil here at the bottom. I don't think we'll need a whole lot.
You always need more than you think.
And then we're gonna dust with our
I think a little more even, because look how shallow those roots are.
direct to root inoculant. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit more of a shallow root system. I'll show you a trick for that. Okay, we've got a pretty healthy roots there. How's that?
Yep.
You like that? That looks nice. You can also use it as a watering product as well, but since we've got an open transplanting, you know, situation,
Yeah.
we're just dusting it straight on. Okay, so this is definitely gonna have to be a two-handed helper situation.
Yep. I was
with
going to ask you to
that.
separate them like that, so that's perfect.
Just like that. And you know what I'm actually gonna do? I'm gonna show these guys a little bit of a trick.
Okay.
About that. If you've got a really shallow root system, you might not, you know, your soil might not be heavy enough to keep up the tall. So I just weigh it down with rocks. So it's not getting so much that I'm like crushing or like breaking any roots.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of keeping them upright.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can also tie them in like a bonsai.
Uh-huh.
You know, if you had like bonsai wire, if you wanted to do that. So that's definitely an option. But yeah, I just like to throw some heavier rocks down there, and that helps keep the plants upright and kind
Right
of
there in the middle.
help shape them a little bit. I can do that one. I can get some more too. Now another great bonus to doing this is that it increases the drainage. So all of these rocks that don't retain any moisture that are going down in here, they are going to help the plant drain faster. So that's kind of cool as well.
That's a win-win.
I guess the one downside would be that it's going to be a lot heavier,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's not like we're going to be moving this a whole lot.
No.
We'll just water it right where it's at. But yeah, I'm going to be reusing this old soil again as well. Now, if this had root rot, I wouldn't be reusing the soil. There are ways to sanitize, yes, of course.
You can Google Tanner the Planter reuse soil.
Yeah, any of the videos I've made on that subject will
They'll
come up.
yeah. It's a question you get a lot.
Yeah, reuse the soil. And then what's funny is that when I do address it and I reuse the soil, they're like, why don't you just buy
Exactly.
Why don't you just buy new soil? And then whenever I don't reuse it, they're like, why don't you reuse your soil?
I'm on a tight budget. How do I reuse it?
I'm like,
A little bit more on this side.
Yeah, I'm coming to grab this extra stuff here. I'm like, I'm just trying to please everybody here.
I'm just a man, okay? That looks so good.
So I'll also wait before I water this one in.
Oh,
Won't do it immediately. How's it look from back there?
I love it. It's
Okay.
perfect for what we want.
Nice. Gathering up all this old. A lot of times I would just use fresh new soil, but there's a touch of laziness today.
And speaking of laziness, I'm not kneeling down because I'm lazy. I got a couple bad knees, so Tanner has to do all the
I'll do the kneeling for
all
us,
the
don't
kneeling
worry.
work today.
But I think that looks pretty good.
Love it.
What do you think?
Yes.
Okay, let's get our final show here. This is everything that we repotted today, and now we got to go style them. We'll probably put that in another episode. You guys can see where we
Decide to put them.
Yeah, how
They
we
look
put them in
great,
our home.
babe. Good job.
Good job. Phew.